Hey everyone, how are you? Ryan Blair here. Just thought I would check in today and give you some wisdom that I have received as a result of the times that we are in. How's everybody doing out there? I appreciate you for joining this live. I'm going to cover some topics today. If you've been following my posts, you know I've been tuning inward and really thinking deeply about the times that we're in. I want to say hello to every single one of you and going to share with you some exciting news that we have in store at AlterCall. So how's everybody doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for the waves. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the light. Kim, how are you? Good evening. Tanja, good to see you. Good to see everybody. I figured we'd do a quick live where I share with you some of my insights that I have received and as a result of the experience that I've had in navigating some difficult experiences in this life. I've overcome some great adversity. And as a result of some of the work that I did in the 2008 financial crisis, I was able to create a significant amount of wealth, and I was able to actually change my business to be very successful as a result of the recession that occurred in 2008. Prior to that, I was a part of the dot-com era and the dot-com bust. Prior to that, I worked in a real estate company, actually for my stepfather, in the recession. So I've had some experience dealing with recessions, and I've had some great success dealing with the recessions. Bestselling was, in fact, the fastest growing company, I think, in the history of Wall Street, and it really was built for the recession. It was 2008. We were selling a luxury vitamin product for $125 a month called the ViPack. And all of a sudden, the recession hit, the financial crisis hit, the banks were collapsing, and I started seeing our customers canceling in droves. Our revenue went from $2.5 million a month down to $600,000 a month. And by the end of 2009, we were nearly out of business. We had 1 month to live. We had over $7 million in debt, and we were burning over $600,000 a month to sustain our operation. As a result of that time, we made some changes to our business model, to our messaging. And those changes resulted in us going from near bankruptcy in January 2010 to a $625 million a year company by 2012. So in 2 short years, we went from very difficult times to being extremely successful. And it was all because of the work that we did during the recession. So I'm here today to teach you what I've learned about this process, to teach you about the things that I'm seeing, to share with you some of the insights that I have as a result of the studying that I've done. And even prior to my experience as an entrepreneur, I worked in what's called market research in the commodities industry, where I tracked the data of every event, good and bad, for the history of our stock market and the history of in the history of our commodities market. And I would make decisions, bets, basically trades, based on those indicators. So my background is primed for this particular moment. And the other experience that I have to share with you is I've been in the healthy lifestyle business. So right now we're seeing a convergence of 2 major problems, a public health crisis and a recession. And that's going to impact every single one of us in a number of different ways. And so I'm here today on this live with you to try to give you some calm, to share with you what I know, and to provide as much value as I can to you, your family, and your business. And we will also be announcing other initiatives that we'll be providing much like this, even some that we'll be able to provide for free to help you weather this storm that you're enduring right now. My objective is to lead during this time, and I hope you'll receive my leadership. So if you have any questions whatsoever for me, I'm happy to answer them. If I can provide you any value in any way possible, I'd love to do that for you. So I know that when I was going through the recession and the financial crisis, I remember I had to call upon some great mentors and some great leaders for some help making some very difficult decisions. I had to lay off people. I had to cut back expenses. I had to cut back my lifestyle. I had to move houses. I had to do all kinds of things to retrofit my life for the new environment that I was in. And so I believe that I've been called to this moment, to lead during this moment, and to share with you what I know. And I believe that the past experiences that I have successfully overcome and the challenges that I have successfully greeted and beaded have led me to help you do the same here. So no matter what you're going through, whether you're an entrepreneur with a big business or a small business, or you're connected to an entrepreneurial ecosystem that is in jeopardy right now, or you're in fear, or you're in doubt, or you just need some guidance, I'm here for you right now. And I'll be doing a lot more of these lives if I receive some positive feedback from you here. I'll be happy to continue to engage. So I'm going to turn it over to some questions because I want to spend some time, giving you some wisdom that I have and answering the questions as best as I can. I have one of my colleagues here that lives with us in the House of Transformation. His name is Brian Ferrari. He's going to read the questions, and you might hear his voice in the background. But if you do, just know that I have somebody reading the questions so I can make as much eye contact with you as possible. I see the hearts, though. I love you guys. So, Brian, what kind of questions are we being asked right now?
Sure. First one is it still worthwhile to build a business during a recession?
Is it still worthwhile to build a business during a recession? Yes, it's harder to build a business during the recession, but the things that you have to do in life that are hard, they strengthen you. And so the strength and the resolve and the resilience that you will yield from the work that you do today, you will forever be grateful for. So I'm going to work harder than I ever have right now because I know that, great businesses are forged from hard times. Disney, for example, came out of the Great Depression. Hewlett-Packard came out of the Great Depression. So no matter what we're enduring right now, there are going to be some businesses that thrive, some businesses that just merely survive, and some that fail altogether. So you want to make sure that you pick the vehicle or the idea according to where the consumer will be, not where they have been or where you think they are now. Like the old quote from Wayne Gretzky is, he doesn't go to where the puck is, he goes to where the puck will be. You want to go to where the consumer will be. And that's really the expertise that I have to bring and share with you. And so if you have some more detailed questions about the specific service or product that you're seeking to provide, I'd be happy to share more about my insights on that. Brian, next question.
Awesome. What about teaching people online? I work with children with disabilities. Should I consult online?
Teaching people online, yes. Unfortunately, we have two phases of this situation that we're in. One is we're all of us that are healthy are in fear of becoming affected by the pandemic. And we're not only in fear because of our own health, but we're also in fear because we may spread to others who are not healthy. So every single one of us should do our best to stay indoors and not take risks receiving or getting infected with, rather, this disease. Because it's not just our health that matters, it's also the health of everyone that we come in contact with. And so if you can teach remotely as I am now and as you are as a teacher, this is your time, this is your opportunity. It is a different skill set that we all have to learn to stare into a camera versus engaging directly. But we're now in a time of social disconnection. And so anything that brings people together socially, like lives like this, we'll be announcing daily Zooms that we'll be doing privately for people that want to raise their consciousness with us and really, create a movement around AlterCall and around the change that this world so desperately needs. And so if you're one of those people that can give your service as a teacher remotely right now, or as a healer or a practitioner, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love you to DM me because we'll be doing some real organization around those of us who can teach right now remotely and do have the means and the gifts of doing so. So I hope that answers your question. Next question, Brian.
How did you turn it around for Benevolence during the recession?
How did I turn it around for Benevolence during the recession? Well, I made some bold moves. I was willing to change our marketing, our messaging. I shifted my focus on products. I completely revamped my promotions, my products. I went to where the consumer was. I went from selling an anti-aging luxury product that cost $125 a month to selling a product that was going to make you lose weight, save you money in the grocery store line. And if you helped enough people do that, 3 in fact, we would give it to you for free. And individuals that were mindful of the recession and experiencing difficulties in the recession now had a reprieve. They were able to receive value, lose weight, feel great, And if they shared that with 3 people, they got their product for free. If they did that enough, we actually paid for a car payment for them, and so they got their car for free. And so the whole story and the whole success of Visalis was as a result of the very difficult changes that we made to meet the consumer where they were. And as a result of those changes, we, created hundreds of millions of dollars worth of value, did billions in sales. So you too can do the same if you, if you really get focused on what you have to change now, get really focused on how you're meeting the new consumer where they're going to be, not where they're at today, and do some soul searching to ask yourself, how can you be of ultimate service, of the most service? Like, how can you serve right now? That's what I'm asking myself. I'm saying, how can I serve right now? And that's my organizing question nonstop right now in this time of need. Next question, Brian.
What is the next popular business worthwhile coming up now? And what would you do if you were 19?
What would I do if I was 19? Don't waste your time on Netflix. Don't waste your time following idiots. Don't waste your time wasting time. Don't try to escape reality. Don't drink. Don't do drugs. Don't watch porn. Don't do any of that stuff right now. Right now, you should be solely focused on learning the vehicle of entrepreneurship. When I was 19 years old, I made the transition from a gang member to an entrepreneur. And as a result of that transition, I've now had tremendous amounts of success and wonderful experiences in my life that I never dreamed possible at 19, because I really dug deep and got great mentorship and got deeply involved in entrepreneurship. Great. Next question, Brian.
Looking for it.
If you have a question, please write it in. I'd love to hear from you. When I started my part-time thing, I was to help with a few things. Now customers are staying home within 2 weeks. Yes, Kim, I'm sorry to hear that you were cut back in terms of wages. This is going to have an effect on everything that we know, because we're doing a thing called social distancing. And that's going to change our consumption. And our economy is powered by what's called consumer consumption. And so consumers are not going to consume the same things. So you really have to dig deep and find something to offer consumers that they will consume from their homes, from their dens, from their living rooms. Go. Next question.
Would you send sales reps to run appointments at customers' houses right now? Josie yes.
Would I send sales reps to run appointments at customers' houses right now? If they're masked, if they're protected, the answer is yes. I would be very cautious if they're not, because you don't want to infect anyone or expose people to infection. The issue with this virus is we don't know that the person has it. They might be spreading. Some people might even be without symptoms right now. So a lot of things are going to change until there's a cure, until there's therapies that work, that, as a result of the therapies, we're able to heal people faster, and until there's a vaccine. So I would be very cautious, but if it's a matter of survival, then I would make sure that my employees were, protected, and that my customers knew that our employees were protected for their benefit, so they didn't think it was strange when a person showed up with a mask. I don't know, Josie, if that's a way to deliver your sales presentation, or if that's possible, but drastic times call for drastic measures. Next question.
What would a smart investment be at this time?
What would a smart investment be at this time? Stay out of the stock market. Don't get caught up in fear and greed investing right now. Invest in yourself. Invest in a new business. Invest in a business that is going to provide a service that this new humanity is going to require. Invest in things that if you are speculating in the stock market, invest in services that provide medical supplies, services that provide supplies into households, services that that are going to be new staples, new utilities for an extended period of time while we wait for a cure for this disease.
I want to serve through my story. How can I forecast where the consumer will be in the future?
So you want to serve through your story. How can you forecast where the consumer will be in the future? Well, you have to study recessions. You have to study pandemics. And you have to think deeply about the things that the consumer was built on. So we were built on, we were in a 10-year growth economy. And, I know a lot about this because in 2008, I went through the financial crisis and I saw the shift from people that were living on the real estate bubble to then all of a sudden this massive financial crisis. I saw the carnage there and I built a business model for a new consumer. So right now you have to think deeply about the services that the consumer will no longer be buying. And you have to think deeply about the things that they will be buying. There are some negative things. Right now we're in a fight between some dark forces and some light forces. And there are some negative things. In recessions, alcohol consumption goes up, which is ridiculous because in this particular situation, the virus that we're all likely to be exposed to, it preys on a weak immune system. And when you're drinking alcohol, you're decreasing your immune system by increasing inflammation. And so there's going to be plenty of people that are going to take risks that they should not be taking as a result of what's going on. So I'm going to really try to lead a group of entrepreneurs that have vehicles that provide goods and services that bring people to their highest elevated state during this time. And I'm going to want to lead and help entrepreneurs, discover new business opportunities. So, nothing that has worked will continue to work in the same way. So it's going to require creativity, ingenuity, and I'm hoping that all of you will join me in helping create new business vehicles, new structures, new opportunity for services and goods that consumers will seek as a result of the new social norms that we're to incur over the next several months and years, perhaps.
Awesome. Erica, I truly believe mental health is where we need to head. How do you anticipate building when it is more needed than ever and there's less money?
Yeah. Well, we're all going to have to serve for less money. I'm not looking at how do I maximize my income? How do I, demand maximum value? I'm not looking at those types of things because I know that consumers have a need, and if I can be of service, I should be of service in the best and most effective and most scalable possible way. So you should really ask yourself that question. There's a lot of people right now that are stuck in their homes, bored out of their minds, and we're at the very beginning of our American quarantine situation. For those of you who have followed me for a while know that I self-quarantined in my home for 2 years. So I'm an old pro at this, but there's a lot of people that are going to desperately need emotional support, therapeutic support. They're going to need coaching, going to need mentoring, going to need to plug into private groups and communities because they're no longer able to plug into the bar or the restaurant or the sporting event. So things are going to emerge and pop up to fill those needs for sure. Great. Next question.
My special needs / friendly business is focused on resorts and hotels. I feel like now I have to give up that effort with how badly the travel / tourism industry is being hit. Do I close up shop?
Yeah. Tourism and travel and resorts and hotels are going to be the hardest hit industries. There will be bailouts, but you'll see lots of bankruptcies in that particular space. I don't ever advise anyone to close up shop. I advise people to pivot to what will work right now. There are people with special needs. They're going to need the value that you provide. And let's not leave the people of special needs behind. Let's find new ways to serve them. Travel and hotels and tourism is not going to be the healthiest way to serve the special needs market right now. But there's plenty of other things that should emerge. So I'd ask you to dig deep and pray about it and ask the question of what products and services can I provide to people right now that I love and that I live to serve, right? And if you do that, you'll be well taken care of. The universe, God, whatever you believe in, we need people that are going to counterbalance the negative effects and the dark effects of what we're experiencing right now. And we're at just the beginning of those effects. as a society. We've never had the convergence of both the financial crisis and a recession, potentially a depression, as well as a health scare on top, not a health scare, a pandemic, on top of a new series of social norms. This is the last time that our society went through such a disruption. It was World War II, when we had to send people to war and we had to change our entire way of life. We had to donate our aluminum, and the women went to the factories and the men went off to war. Now, this is a war, but it's a war against our old humanity and our old lifestyle and our old consciousness, our old habits. And so there's going to be a call for new warriors to start teaching people new lifestyle and new habits and new ways of living. Next question, Brian.
Isolation breeds depression, anxiety, panic states. What can we do for these 20% of the population? I think the question is asking for people who are dealing with.
Yeah. So isolation does create panic, depression, anxiety. It also creates, people trying to escape that reality, and I'm very sensitive to that. I isolated myself because I knew that by doing so, I could go through a transformation. And so my suggestion is to pick up tools like breath work, like meditation, prayer, music, join groups like this, stick close to my Instagram page. We're going to be announcing ways that you can communicate with us and connect with us directly, and we're here to serve. I've just on today, I went on a hike with a friend of mine who's a therapist. So, for those people that are suffering, I plan to mobilize some people to help that are part of the AlterCall Advocate Network. And, I'm going to do my best to be able to serve as many human beings as I can during this time. But for right now, my suggestion is to pick up the practice of meditation, pick up the practice of breath work, pick up the practice of prayer, and plug into this community. And I'll do my best to come to you every single day that I possibly can to try to give you some light at the end of the tunnel. Know that you can get through this, though. You can get through anything. The human soul is the most powerful force on earth. So know that your soul is beautiful. We just have to give you some of the tools to let that soul shine in its deepest possible way. Know that you are loved and that you'll get through this time.
I'm intellectually and emotionally wide open to gain inspiration and knowledge. How do I effectively filter nonsense information?
The question was, I'm intellectually wide open, and how do I filter nonsense information?
Yeah, I'm intellectually and emotionally wide open.
Yeah. The question of filtering nonsense information is you just have to see people as being either asleep or being awake. And when you see people that are asleep, you should have compassion for them, empathy for them. You don't need to wake them up. That might not be your job, but know that you are awake. And so I smile. I used to be asleep. So I went back and looked at every post I've ever posted, and there was plenty of them that came prior to my awakening that I wish I wouldn't have posted. And if you ever had to experience one of those posts, my apologies to you. Now that I am awake and I continue to elevate my consciousness each day, I can see negative things differently and I see positive things differently. I have a new awareness that I'm able to experience. And so that's my gift. So I'm even grateful when I see negative, and I'm compassionate because I know that that person, that child, was likely not taught, as I was not taught, to elevate my thinking and to elevate my consciousness. So if you're awake and you're wide open intellectually and emotionally, just smile at the people that are spreading negativity or ignorance. Ignorance is a stage that you have to go through before you become awake. So we shouldn't judge people that were just like us once upon a time. That's the next question.
How do you handle upper management not caring about the workloads given to help others?
How do I care about upper management not caring about the workloads?
How do you handle upper management?
Oh, how do I handle upper management? There's a great book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and you want to try to bridge their reality with yours. So in How to Win Friends and Influence People, it gives you plenty of opportunities to learn different techniques for utilizing a person's ego and a person's insensitivity and so forth to your benefit. So my suggestion is read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. And then secondly, there's a thing called a reality bridge, and that is that you want to try to bridge your managers or the executives that you work with to your reality. And the way you bridge your reality is you never make them feel attacked. Don't, speak your mind. Don't harbor resentment. Don't build up your negativity and allow these things to foster within you, because that's just basically taking a poison pill, and you'll become cancerous when you do that, literally and figuratively. So, just go to them and try to bridge your reality with theirs by letting them off the hook, telling them, hey, look, I understand that you're enduring stress. Be empathetic with them. Let them know that, hey, I know you got a tough job. You have to lead us, but I just want to share with you what I'm going through right now. And your lack of sensitivity, it makes my job harder. And if you could just be more sensitive to what I'm doing or the hours I'm putting in, it'll make my job easier, which is going to make your job easier. So all too often, we just don't know how to effectively communicate. So then we bite our tongue, we suppress our voice. And when we do that, we create pain. And so my suggestion to you is appropriately to share your voice appropriately. Next question.
Do you agree that benevolence is a key to support people in the crisis we're facing?
Do I agree that benevolence is the key to support people in the crisis that we're facing? Yes, I do agree with that. I think that anytime that you can come from a place of kindness, love, and of light, and empathy and caring, and sometimes coming from a place of light, though, doesn't mean that you're not willing to tell a person about where they've gone wrong, or where they're thinking negatively, or where they're in the dark, or where they're in their shadows. Benevolence doesn't just mean that you dismiss all negativity. Benevolence means that you're willing to act as the light does, and that means that you're willing to share the light even in situations where it's dark, and you're willing to expose the dark in people's conduct and their character and their thinking and everything. So I think right now is a time that we have to try to embody the light, to embody the virtues of our Creator as best as we possibly can. And that requires strength, and that requires leadership. Next question.
Are you scared of the coronavirus?
Am I scared of the coronavirus? No. I'm not scared of anything. I know God has a plan, and I know that that plan involves me, and that plan involves you. And I know I'm called to lead during this time. And, the only thing that I'm scared of is, will I make the right decisions to serve in the best possible way the people that I'm called to serve? And I ask myself deep questions about the actions that I take and the decisions that I make every single day to make sure that I'm making the right decisions to lead during this time of need. Because as we've seen with our political state of politics and the divisiveness that we experience, there's no, in the news and all that stuff, it's a bad situation that we're in right now. And the leadership that we called on and counted on, they're not there. They're doing the best job they can, many of them, with the tools that they have. But we need a new type of leadership. And that's what I believe that AlterCall was created for. And that's what I believe that I'm called to do. So I'm not scared whatsoever about the situation. In fact, I think that it was a necessity for us to shift as a humanity. And my plan is to be a leader within that shift.
The movement I created is mindful, authentic, soul-filled living wrapped in a success mindset. I created free videos and want to create an online community. Any tips?
The movement that you created was, what, Brian? Was what's the question?
Yeah. The movement I created is mindful, authentic, soul-filled, based around a success mindset. I created free videos, and I want to create an online community. Any tips to creating an online community?
The best way to create community is to deeply engage with the people that have already raised their hand to connect with you. There's already customers involved in this, or there's already fans, or there's already people liking it. So start with the people that have already raised their hand and organize around them. That's what I'm doing here at AlterCall, and is I'm going to organize around the people that have already come through our programs, that have already signed up for our mastermind product, and I'm going to start to organize through that particular community. So organize through your existing customers, and then enroll new people into your movement, and be courageous at enrolling. You want to make sure that you have a spirit of an enroller, a recruiter, where you're always recruiting people to your movement. Great.
We're waiting for the next question.
All right. Anyone else have a question out there? I'm having some tea. Life is, go ahead.
Life is constant giving and taking. In what kind of way would you like to be supported?
One, if you could pray for me, that would be fantastic. I believe that the more prayers that you guys send my way, the more that I'm able to summon the courage and the discernment necessary for the work that I'm called to do. So if you could pray for me, and if you can engage in my posts and engage in comments and engage in this conversation that I'm going to continue to initiate constantly, that would be of great support. And we'll be sending out, access to our email list, access to a private Zoom call that we're going to start to do daily here, where we're going to do a daily meditation every single day. And it's going to be free. And so we plan to engage with you. And all I ask is you engage back with me. And know that when I say and I do a post that I'm praying for you, every comment that I'm actually looking at, I'm actually praying. So as I see those comments go in, I'm sending prayers up for you guys. So, if you would send prayers up for me and my family, it would mean the world to me. Because right now, if we're all elevating each other and praying for each other, we can summon enough energy to fight these dark forces that are going to be against us right now.
Will you write another book?
Will I write another book? Yes. I've been working on a book, but the ending just changed. Now I have to write about how I've built a business called AlterCall and a movement called AlterCall during a pandemic. So it's going to be a great story. I know it'll be one worthy of reading and worthy of celebrating as soon as we get through this mess together. But I'll be writing every day as we go. I'll be writing, and I'll be sharing via these lives and via the other programs that we have at AlterCall. Right now I mentor a group of 30 individuals that are business owners and entrepreneurs, and I'm teaching them the content that's going in the next book, and I'm getting feedback on that content and refining and testing the content to make sure that my next book is my best book.
Why did you isolate? What was your purpose, and what did you do to grow through it?
Why did I isolate myself? I was exposed to a new reality, much like every single one of you is. And when that new reality happened, I had to rethink my old reality. I had to rethink every decision. I had to rethink every action, every success, every victory, every failure, every sin, every memory I had with my mother who had passed away, and that's what triggered the isolation. Every memory that I had with my father who passed away a year ago to the day, and that extended my isolation. I learned more about myself and my soul than I could possibly share with you right now, and that's part of what I will share in my book. But know that isolation, silence, getting to know your soul, being comfortable alone, that is magic. Like, there is magic in that. And know that no doubt that this pandemic was divinely architected for us to get to know our own souls. So do that work. And the work is prayer, first and foremost. Meditation, which prayer is sending, meditation is receiving. Breath work. We're having a lung issue with this pandemic. Get these lungs working. Singing. If you were told you can't sing, now's the time to start singing. Learn to sing. I've found more joy in the practice of learning to sing than I could ever dream possible. Whatever hobbies that you dropped as a kid, pick them back up. Crochet, play that instrument, like do the stuff that you set down as a kid because you had to go into the workforce or you told you can't make money doing that. Fall back in love with yourself. That's the goal during this period of isolation.
What do you use for personal development? What podcasts are your favorite?
What do I use for personal development? What podcasts are my favorite? Right now I'm really deeply connecting to nature. I connect to books, certain, masters. I haven't spent much time on podcasts recently. Most of them sound very similar, and most of the stories are very similar, and I've listened to a lot of great stories. So I'm digging deep into my spirituality right now. I'm investing in connecting to spiritual sources, biblical sources. I'm learning different modalities that are spiritual in nature and extracting the best practices from those modalities, so that way I can simplify them and utilize them. I'm writing. I'm listening to music. I'm studying music. I'm really deeply learning music. I'm listening. I'm listening to the birds. I'm listening to the wind. I'm listening to nature. I'm listening to my teammates. I'm doing my best not to listen to too much news. Next question, Brian.
We're waiting for the next question.
Any other questions out there? Oh, thank you, Rosie. I appreciate the love. Jay.
Okay. I'm very positively surprised of your energy. Do you want me to spread your word in Germany?
Yes. Spread the word to anyone in the world that will receive the love and the light that I have within me to share. And any human being that you are called to connect to this movement. The world is going through a change right now. It is going through an AlterCall moment, and people are going to be lost, and they're going to feel disconnected, and they're going to feel fear, and they're going to feel pain, and it's going to cause a lot of grief. And I know those feelings very well, and I have created tools to overcome, very difficult grief and very difficult pains. And I completely dropped everything that I was doing to fortify myself spiritually, physically, and mentally for this moment. So know that anyone you connect to this page, anyone that you connect to me, know that I will be serving them as I'm serving you here today.
Do you listen to music when you meditate? I'm afraid I can't meditate. I can't shut my mind off. Any suggestions?
Do you listen to music when you meditate? I'm afraid I can't meditate. I can't shut my mind off. I used to have the same challenge. And if you just tune your ear to the music to the point where you're listening to the notes, you're listening to the sounds of the different instruments, you're shutting your brain down from thinking. Meditation is simple. You want to have a period of time where you're not actually thinking thoughts. You're flowing. And that's what meditation is. Tune your ears to nature. Tune your ears to the wind. Tune your ears to the silence. And every time you have a thought, just acknowledge the thought, smile, and say, I'm not here to think right now. I'm here just to listen. I'm here to listen to those birds. I'm here to listen to the wind. I'm here to listen to the music. And select music that is calming. I'll often, when I'm indoors, I'll play meditation music with birds in it. I just say to Alexa to play meditation music with birds in it. And then I'll just train my ears to the birds. I also use sound bowls. So sometimes I'll just play the sound bowls and just tune my ears to the sound of the bowls. And then often I'll just sit there in complete silence and appreciate the silence. Now we will be doing a daily meditation. So I'll teach you my practices and my techniques daily. I'll be doing a post, so stay tuned. I'll be doing a post on a daily meditation group that I'm going to be forming. And when I say going to be, like, it'll be live and active, hopefully by tomorrow morning. I have to check in with my team after this to know that the team we're isolated in the House of Transformation, working around the clock right now. And it's an awesome thing. And we'll be bringing you some tools to your home to help you, elevate your consciousness.
When you were a younger man struggling, what clicked in your brain to change?
When I was a younger man struggling, what clicked in my brain to change? I wanted to change. I was sick and tired of the existence that I was having. And, you know, I'm still a young man and I've still gone through changes even recently. And it all stemmed from a desire to change, a curiosity to change. Like, once you know and you have that awareness, like, I want to change. You know, pray, go, God, I want to change. Please help me find the strength. Please help me find the mentors. Please help me find the tools that I need to change. I'll do anything, and be obedient. I'll do anything to change. And when you do receive what you pray for, you know, rejoice in gratitude with that. Receive that and take action on the gifts that you receive, that you pray for. All too often we ask for a sign, we pray for a sign, we receive a sign. We don't follow the sign. We don't take action on the sign. Then we pray for another sign. And then pretty soon we're no longer able to receive those signs. So it's very important when you receive a sign to take action on that sign and to value the divine inspiration that sign is. And it could be something subtle or something major. All too often, though, we have an altar call moment in our lives. We pray for a sign, we receive a sign, and then we find, you know, we ask for another sign. And that's not how the system works. That's not how the game works. If you ask for something and you receive it, you got to take action on it. When my mother was passing, I asked for her to pass with mercy, so that way I could be called to be the leader that I was called to be. And I received exactly what I asked for. And so I did the work for 2 years it took me. And every time I would try to come up for air, I wasn't ready. I had to go back and do the work. Every time I thought I was ready, I realized I wasn't ready. And healing is painful. And the more that you heal, the more that you'll be called to lead. And the more that you lead, the more that you'll receive. And there's two types of pain and healing. And I want to make sure that for those of you afraid of pain, there's a kind of pain and healing, like if you recall when you were a child and you'd have a tooth coming out. And I reflect on this because my boy is 11 years old and he's lost his teeth recently, lost, I think, the last one. And it's like a good pain when you lose a tooth, right? Like, you guys remember when you were a child and your tooth would wiggle and you'd just be obsessed with it, and you'd wiggle it, and the next thing you know, it'd be out, and then you'd be, rubbing your tongue against the spot, and it'd be a little painful. Well, that little pain is healing. And you need to learn how to embrace the different type of pain, the pain of healing, because if you don't embrace that pain, you're going to get another type of pain, which is the pain of not healing. And the pain of not healing comes with a lot of consequences. And the people that are going to be most affected by this pandemic are the ones that, are dealing with unhealed situations, underlying conditions, immune systems that are not optimized because they haven't put healing foods in their bodies. They haven't put healing content in their souls. They haven't been in healing relationships. They've been in toxic relationships, eating toxic foods, having toxic thinking, and having toxic lifestyles. And so as a result of that, they're going to be the ones that suffer the most, unfortunately. And so I encourage you, do the healing now in your isolation. Do things that heal you. Reduce anything that causes inflammation in your life. Do the work right now. Now is the time to do the work, to activate your immune system and to elevate everything you do in your life and to live as healthy as you possibly can. Next question, Brian.
How do I take my health and wealth to the next level? How do I go from 100% to 200%?
How do I take my health and wealth to the next level? How do I go from 100% to 200%? Well, there's no 200%. There's only 100%. So you have to focus on being aware and accurate with where you're at right now. So am I putting 80% of my effort into the building of my health and my wealth? Am I putting 50% of my effort in? Just rate yourself on a 1 to 10. What actions am I taking on a daily basis to improve my health? How is my eating? How is my connection with nature? How is my content that I'm taking in? How is the music that I'm listening to? How is this inspiring health in me and creating health in me? And on wealth, equally, what actions am I taking each day? Am I reading the books, studying from other mentors, part of a mastermind or a focus group, or a group that you've created that's to elevate each other's businesses? Am I doing the work every day? Am I executing? Am I putting myself in creative states so that way I come up with new ideas, new products, new services, new ways to add value as the economy changes? Am I doing the work, or am I, tuning out to Netflix, getting drunk, wasting my time and my energy? Like those are you're going to have a choice. You're going to have choices in this situation. You're going to have a choice to choose the dark or choose the light. There's light in building your wealth, and there's dark in building your wealth. And so I encourage you to choose the light in how you build your wealth. Know that there will be people out there that are going to try to profit from this situation, and that's a terrible situation. Choose the light. So,
what do you think about using a vision board? Do you use one?
What do I think about using a vision board? Do I use one? Yes, vision boards are great. I'm also a creative thinker and a visual person, so I often visualize intensely the things that I'm seeking to create. But I no longer visualize material things because I've created most every material thing I've ever dreamed of. I've had Ferraris and jets and mansions and things like that. So I don't really have those desires anymore. Now I'm visualizing a movement that changes the world, one that inspires people to elevate their consciousness, and one that helps people heal, and that gives people a playbook for how to awaken, and then how to integrate into society once they're awakened, which is a very difficult thing to do. I know I went through, both an awakening and then an integration, and it's not easy. And so, I'm elevating myself right now, and which will elevate my wealth. And I'm elevating myself by elevating my health and elevating the service that I'm able to give, and the character of which I use to conduct that service. Brian?
Yeah. My strong interest in caring for people is mistaken by men that I'm attracted to them. How can I fix that?
My strong interest in caring for people is mistaken by men because they believe that you're attracted to them. Is that right?
How can I fix that?
I have the same challenge. Every once in a while, girls will seek my mentorship, and then they'll seek more than my mentorship. And they'll get upset when I explain to them that I've taken a vow of celibacy, and that I'm not seeking, to engage in those relationships. So you have to just state where you're at clearly, and you have to let them know that, you're not engaging in that type of activity. So people in my circle call me Father Ryan, because I'm not engaging in dating, and I'm not engaging in sexual activity and those types of things right now, because I'm seeking to create a sacred energy, and I'm seeking to call upon that sacred energy and to understand that sacred energy. And the reason why I'm doing that now is because I never had done that before in my life. I was not led that way. I was exposed as a young child to pornography and sexual molestation and all kinds of terrible things. And so I've spent the last several months really trying to reconnect to that type of stuff. And so when people are seeking, relationships with me, I tell them that, I'm here to mentor you, and I'm here to help elevate you. And I'm very clear on that.
Do you have a program or certification program on this?
Do I have a program or a certification program on this? I do have a program. We have an advocate program that we meet weekly. In fact, it's tonight at 6:30, where we get together of a group of about 30 of us, and I teach these modalities. I teach meditation. I teach what's called vocal tuning, which is utilizing your voice. I teach breath work, and we teach diet, we teach nutrition, and then we teach life principles and business principles, and then I answer questions and do Q&A with the entrepreneurs and the leaders that are part of this community. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can go ahead and DM me, and we'll jump on the telephone and I can share with you more about that program. We will be doing a free program to teach people meditation every single day, and we'll be announcing the details around that program as well.
Awesome. How do you respond to family and friends who judge you for your solitude, like calling you passive? I can't block loved ones.
How do you respond to family and friends that judge you for your solitude? you know, sometimes you have to educate them on, you know, on who you are and how you're different than them. And you have to tell them that it hurts your feelings that they're judging you for being, you know, for enjoying solitude. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, is your solitude an excuse because you're comfortable in solitude? And maybe your family and friends are prodding you to get uncomfortable. You know, sometimes you have to ask yourself, is your solitude too much? Like, is this, you know, we should not be in solitude too much, but there are times where we definitely need solitude in order for us to heal and to grow. And so you just have to try your best to communicate with love where you're at. And who cares about people's judgment? Like, if anything we're going to learn through this time is that the judgment that people have of us is like, it's gone. Like, people, they're going to judge us regardless, but people are going to start to change the way that they judge the world and change the way that they judge you as a result of them now going through experiences of solitude, as a result of them having to quarantine themselves. Like, they judged me for being, you know, super focused on healthy lifestyle and healthy eating. Now people are going to realize that maybe I was onto something. Maybe I was right in shifting my eating habits and shifting my consumption habits and quitting drinking and, you know, quitting the things that I quit. And maybe this coronavirus is divinely inspired to help awaken people that have been judging us for the things that we're doing that were healthy for us. So I wouldn't worry about people's judgment for too much longer.
I've been gambling too much, Ryan. It's hard to quit.
Can you speak up?
Yeah. I've been gambling too much, Ryan. It's hard to quit, and I make good money. What can I do?
I've been gambling too much. It's hard to quit, and I make good money. What should I do? Well, you need to seek help. You know, you need to. There's a force called restriction that we all have to summons, and you know, restriction is knowing that you need to quit something, and then taking the actions necessary to quit it. So whether you seek help, I know that there's various support groups for it. You know, you can DM me, and I'll give you some additional tips about how I've quit addictive principles or practices, I should say. Know that everything that you're doing right now, if it's addictive, it can be overcome. I know that it's hard, and I too have had challenges with addictions. And, you know, I sought help, but I also dug deeply into tools that I could utilize that became a new addiction and a new habit. And so if you DM me, I'd be happy to tell you what some of those tools are, and I'd be happy to help you through this time of suffering.
How do you deal with someone that is negative and verbally abusive while trying to achieve your goals and dreams?
How do you deal with someone who's negative and verbally abusive? Well, you need to get out of that relationship if they're verbally abusive. You need to be strong and courageous and make changes in that relationship. And that's just that. You can't change people, and you know, you might give that person an opportunity to seek help. You might give that person an opportunity to preserve the relationship, but you need to say, you know, you're negative and you're verbally abusive, and I'm going to change if this doesn't happen. And you need to be strong, and you need to be firm that you're not going to tolerate this any longer.
Wait, next question.
Next question? Are we waiting on one? Yeah. Well, it's been great tonight. I appreciate you guys very much. I appreciate your questions. I'll be doing more of this. Do me a favor, though. If something I've said is exciting to you, or something I've said touches you, you know, connect with me, DM me, comment on my posts. Let me know you're out there. Let me know that you're part of this family. I'm gonna do everything I can to organize us, and I need to know who out here is with me in elevating consciousness and elevating the way we conduct ourselves and in healing and growing together. Know that I'm here to help you do that, and know that you know, I'm with you right now. I have a tremendous heart for people that are going through difficult times, that are filled with uncertainty and fear. And as you're filled with that, know that I'm here to help serve. And it's an honor for me to help serve. Call upon me to help serve you in any way I can. Your feedback will help me create groups, will help me create services, help me create products. It'll help us create what is necessary for us to hold together during this time of need and during this time of uncertainty. Know that I'm seeing this as my moment to be called to lead. And all of you who have followed me for so many years and who have been a part of this page and have seen me go through the transformation that I went through, know that I went through it for a reason. And now I'm here to help you go through your own personal transformation as well. I say goodnight to you guys because I'm going to jump on Facebook and do a live there next. I'd love to hear from you via DM, and I'd love to be able to serve you in the future. So good night, everyone. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the hearts. Love you guys.